Alright, L-Mid and JBM here. Just finally got done seeing the Avengers on opening day in the US, and wow, this movie really lived up to the hype. If you remember back in the '08, they started off the run to the Avengers at the end of the credits of Iron Man, then the Incredible Hulk, and now they kind of rounded it out with the Thor and Captain America movies in the summer of 2011. And yeah.
Action was amazing. CGI was amazing. The 3D wasn't really that 3D much, but it was still dope.
This isn't the first time that they gathered like a huge like Marvel superhero cast, because remember they did X-Men series in
But
the
that was
2000s.
mostly more emotional and didn't have that much action.
Yeah, that they focused way too much on like the drama between the love triangle of Jean Grey and Wolverine losing his emotions. They even focused on a love triangle between Rogue and like Iceman.
But this is a handful of like bigger like superheroes.
They
so
kept the comic
better.
book color, yeah, in this compared to the X-Men ones. If you go back and just watch X-Men 2, the last 30 minutes is just emotionally terrible. And the humor in this, the Avengers, wow, this script is really clever and witty. The clashing between the egos with them was really good. I thought it was going to be overly emotional.
And then the side battles with freaking Thor and Iron Man.
Yeah, I didn't think that they were going to be able to
fighting.
balance like all these big characters into one movie,
But they all got like a perfect amount of time.
Yeah, and it goes at a good pace, and they dive into the.
Not that dull.
Yeah, there isn't even much of emotion. It's the only emotional part is when like Jill Johnson from When a Stranger Calls her dad, who's the agent in this, when he dies, and then Samuel L. Jackson gives him a pep talk while he's on his Bluetooth. He's like on his Bluetooth the whole movie, and he's totally Samuel L. Jackson.
It's hilarious, and he's
totally Samuel L. Jackson down.
And the people above him that give him orders, he like gives them orders because it's Samuel L. Jackson, you know.
And then they also did the Fantastic Four. Also, that was another big superhero teaming. It's alright. It isn't that quality, but they have Doctor Doom in it. That scene's classic. But
There's some emotional.
But the Thing and Johnny Fire, they can't amount to the characters of like Captain America, and obviously Chris Evans played two characters. It's symmetrical how he was in Fantastic Four and now the Avengers. Like his life's perfect.
I know. I was just saying, there's probably some idiots in the audience that thought it was gonna be the Torch.
And anyone who thinks that The Dark Knight Rises is gonna be better than this, they don't know shit about filmmaking. First off, the action and the CG. First off, no one wouldn't even use CGI. His action scenes, just compare the action scenes in The Dark Knight compared to the Avengers. It doesn't even compare. Like the floating airbase in this that they're on the whole time is just badass. And then the whole ending's badass. And then the fights between the characters like the Hulk and Thor.
Freaking
classic. Just once you see it on screen, it's just unbelievable. It's just breathtaking. You could never imagine seeing these characters fighting on the big screen.
That's what I'm saying. It's basic. You got one character, you know, Bruce Wayne, and then you got, you know, a handful of like some of the top superhero book comics, and you're just like, oh, and the clash is amazing.
Yeah, and I didn't know if Loki was going to be enough of a villain to go up against the Avengers, but they make him drag in with. He gets an alternate power from an alternate source of evil and
in the universe.
The Tesseract, and he uses that energy, and obviously has his own army. They kind of did it. That was kind of like the story of the Green Lantern, how they brought the Parallax.
Yeah, it was the fucking Avengers, and then it turned into Transformers at the end.
Yeah, they totally used Transformers CGI.
And then it turned into Alien, with all the aliens coming down.
Oh my God, Iron Man was hilarious. His lines are so hilarious. And I love it when Iron Man and Tony Stark and Bruce Banner were working together as scientists on the hovercraft. Awesome scene.
Yeah, I didn't think he was that funny.
Who?
Stark.
Shut up, you were laughing the whole time, faggot. You were right next to me.
Not that hard, though.
Yeah, he wasn't laughing that hard for you guys to know.
But freaking action was amazing. Freaking Black Widow, you know, you think she's gonna fall off the alien thing when she jumps on it and shit. I thought that scene was gonna be retired, but But Hawk, that was dope with them shooting all the arrows and shooting, having them blow up. That was awesome.
And then Captain America's character was ignorant to the 21st century and new technology. I love how they worked that in and clashed with Tony Stark's character.
When he had him
awesome
defuse
script.
the thing, look at the thing, and then also when he was on the computer, and you're like, this motherfucker doesn't know how to use the computer.
I couldn't even imagine anyone else doing a script. If like Nolan did the Avengers, it would have just been all like emotional, taking itself too seriously.
Oh, and the dope part is when they freaking like show everyone like where they came from, like in the beginning, like a quick like like him being frozen, Captain America being frozen, and then Thor and shit, and all of them went through all of them like their origin, like a real quick sum up. It was pretty dope.
Of course, Thor was just hot-headed and just went into action without even thinking in the beginning.
Like, and he's my stepbrother.
This is between yeah. Loki kind of sucked in Thor, the first one last summer, and I have these arguments with people on YouTube about who's better, Hector Hammond from Green Lantern or Loki. I mean, they're both two jealous villains and two maniacal, and one's like the bastard child of a god, and then the other one is just a super genius from the radiation of the alien or whatever it was with Hector Hammond. How he's kind of like Marvel, or he's kind of DC's version of the leader from the Incredible Hulk.
I think they could have picked her better.
Check my who Loki. Yeah, I know, but
it was still
his costume was dope, and his performance was like 10 times better than it was in the first. So I'm gonna give it credit. It was solid. And what else? The Hulk has more self-control.
Oh yeah, he like was able to take orders and shit. It was kind of whack.
And
it was dope, but it was just like he's the Hulk. He can't contain the Hulk.
Yeah, I know.
But then at the end, they're like, he's like the Hulk's emotional. That freaking Stark's laying on the ground right there with his freaking suit all blown.
So at the end, they defeat the Chitauri, Green Lantern style, the Parallax, and he does it by like shooting like a man-made missile up like a dimensional portal
into a completely like realm in the freaking universe, and they just went, and then it was just their ship.
You gotta love Stark.
It was their ship right at the end of the portal, right up in there. So
yeah, and you gotta love Stark Tower that he built in New York, because I know how they set his origins on L.A. because they did it as a change up, because most Marvel like heroes were set up like in New York. They did his in L.A. Well, now they set up a building for Tony Stark in New York, and that was dope how they were fighting on it. The whole ending with the ships and all the airplane scenes. There was 2 different airplane scenes. Okay, I'm going to think Nolan's in The Dark Knight, his airplane scene, it's going to probably be similar to like Quantum of Solace 08, the James Bond movie. Yeah. But you know what? I'm going to say this. No. Nolan doesn't shoot his like comic book. He tries to shoot it like a whack ass like James Bond mixed with like Michael Mann Heat film, but Heat's 2 times better. Casino Royale is 10 times better than The Dark Knight, and I could already say that Skyfall. Wait until Skyfall comes out later in theaters, the next James Bond movie. That's gonna blow The Dark Knight out of the water. So is The Hobbit. So is The Avengers. Except for everyone's like so freaking epic.
Well, wasn't that like the only cool special effect in The Dark Knight was the freaking skyhook?
Skyhook was like the only like special effect in The Dark Knight. I know he kept it like old school.
We used it to get men out of hot spots.
And like
Lucius Fox.
And then the only other special effects, you want to know this, is the freaking bat pod that goes up against the wall and then it like does like a flip and like turns the other way. You know what's so stupid? He does that. He goes to the wall 80 miles per hour, turns, flips down the other way. Then like 2 seconds later, he's like going after the Joker, and instead of killing him, he like crashes it. Yeah, wouldn't he be able to stop on a dime if he just did it like 2 seconds?
It's more drama for the audience.
It's just stupid.
They love it. They love stupid.
You don't get that showdown between the Joker and the
Alright, back to the Avengers. The ending.
Final thoughts. Easily the greatest comic book movie ever made. Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner kind of sucked. I just thought of him as like his character from SWAT the whole time.
Oh yeah, definitely. But they left it off with the aliens talking that like, humans can't be, or, won't take no crap, so, they'll fight. And they're like, oh, we're going to go after him again. And you're like, oh. But then that wasn't even the last scene. JBM was like, hold up, we gotta wait, there's another second last scene. And we're out there freaking waiting in the aisle forever. And it finally comes along and it's just them eating at the freaking restaurant.
And they're eating like Blimpie burger.
And there's no freaking dialogue, and then it cuts off and you're like, this is what I stand around waiting for?
Yeah, even though
I said it.
Even though Thor just left with Loki in the portal back to Asgard, but then he's
back having.
But he's at a New
sandwich.
York freaking restaurant. And they're about to catch like the Yankees game afterwards. Like,
hey, Avengers off duty.
Anyway, this was JBM and L-Mid. Any other final thoughts? At least it's got to be above a 9.5. It's got to be like a 9.7. You really can't top.
I was gonna say around there, yeah.
Action is just amazing. Dialogue amazing.
Story straight.
Villain could have been better, but really solid. Anyway,
but action makes up for it, definitely.
Oh yeah, and what's her name is like the only chick in it, Scarlett Johansson, and she was also in that '04 movie, like The Final Score with Chris Evans. So they reunite for this movie. Thor was less annoying this time than in his movie.
Oh yeah, I didn't
he was really annoying in the movie.
It
was like an overacting job by Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, and but he was a lot less annoying. They used him perfectly in this movie, I thought. Didn't get over. Didn't they?
I was gonna say he mostly just talked about business.
And they didn't take themselves too seriously. Shout out to Hollywood Rape. Shout out to
13 Wolfman.
Shout out to everyone. Ghostface Kevin. The Movie World Express.
Give us your
all the people that are shouting out and want the real Batman with the dark side back.
Definitely.
All right. This was JBM and L-Mid from Villain News and Mr. Creepshow and